Hello, I'm Jimmy Quiney. Today is December the 30th, 2015. Bees are tucked away for the winter. Beekeepers wait for spring. Spring and summer is the time for beekeeping, and winter is the time for dreaming, planning, building, talking and making videos. I have colonies in a variety of configurations to show you. Despite the variety, the one thing that most of my colonies have is a brood break. A brood break is a period of time when there are no open larval cells for the varroa mites to sneak into, and no sealed larva cells containing varroa. During this period, all the varroa are clinging to bees and vulnerable to damage caused by grooming. I have found that most of my colonies established this way will overwinter well and make a honey crop the following year. Mel Dusselkin of Michigan gets credit for leading me in that direction. I have had the most success and experience in overwintering this configuration. In this group are 4 colonies. Each of them is in 2 vertically stacked 5-frame boxes. The frames are Manlake black plastic PF 117s. All these colonies face south. In previous colder years, I have alternated them both north and south. However, I found that those facing north had ice an inch thick on the bottom boards in the spring, whereas those that faced south didn't. My friend Yuki suggested that even though the sun's effect in winter is weak, it must be enough to make a difference. I like the 4-pack of colonies because in late winter, early spring, when I check them for stores, I don't have to move as many colonies to get to the center ones as I do when they're in larger groups. New for this year in this group is the solid outer 4-pack cover. This wooden cover sits over the top of each colony's individual feed bag inner cover and 2-inch styrofoam insulating cover. The intention is to prevent mice from eating their way down through the styrofoam. That happened to me twice last winter for the first time. I give Michael Palmer of Vermont credit for turning me on to the Skinny Nuc box benefits and the quick spring build-up and better overwintering. Thanks, Mike. In volume and shape, a cavity like this more closely resembles the traditional cavity the bees would select and provision for winter than the cavity conventional beekeepers traditionally give them. Whose traditions should we aim for? Those of the bees or those of the beekeepers? I have lost no 5/5 colonies this winter so far. This colony started as an overwintered 5/5 and then was ran for honey in 10-frame equipment. I experimented by requeening my honey production colonies in July with queen cells to see if a brood break intervention and drone brood removal would be enough to allow them to avoid a mite-mediated demise. The brood break and drone brood removal has not been effective for these post-production colonies. I have lost 6 out of 10 of them to mites. Their loss is sad, but gives me clues as to the limitations of the brood break. Fortunately, I have plenty of other colonies that are alive. These are similar in setup to the 5/5s. They just have one more level of 5 frames. Sometimes colonies that are strong, particularly if they're set up early, need an intervention to reduce their impulse to swarm. Giving them one more level of frames to work on is such an intervention. I don't particularly like adding the 3rd level, as it is more awkward to weigh colonies that are this tall. The 5/5s are easy to weigh on a bathroom scale. However, I haven't lost any 5/5/5 colonies yet this winter either. Note that this grouping has my earlier type of winter cover. It's just black plastic pond liner over the top of the insulation. As I mentioned, I am moving away from this because it's not a defense against a determined mouse. Lastly, here are 7 colonies in single 5-frame boxes. I haven't lost any of these yet. As you can see, in common with my other 5-frame boxes, I've clustered them together for winter warmth, given them a reduced upper entrance for ventilation and a reduced lower entrance to bring out the dead. So far this winter hasn't been a real test, and if I get these through winter I won't be able to draw any conclusions because it's been so mild. I've got colonies in single 5 frames boxes this far before, and then added a level of 5 frames of honey from dead outs to them when brood rearing starts. I'm conflicted about this. On the one hand, I would like to see what a colony looks like if it gets to spring in a single box, but on the other hand, I worry about starvation, and the peace of mind that comes with adding another box of stores is very tempting. This is my 6th year of overwintering bees in skinny 5-frame Nucs boxes, after establishing them with a brood break. I am becoming more confident in this method and have bees in 2 more apiaries in Wisconsin. Mites can't be ignored. My method of dealing with them is to use brood breaks and splits. This has allowed me to grow with minimal purchases of bees. I started with 1 package of bees in 2008. I bought 2 more in 2009 and 2 more in 2011. Since then I have sold bees. To the spring of 2015, I have a survival rate of 88% for bees kept in 5-frame equipment, but only 63% for bees overwintered after producing a crop of honey and wintered in 10-frame equipment. This is an overall wintering rate of 81%, or for a total of 138 out of 170 colonies. The significant challenge that remains for me is how to overwinter bees after they have produced a crop of honey without chemically treating them. I suspect one answer is to use brood breaks to arrest the exponential infestation of varroa and then move them back into 5-frame equipment to grow back for winter. Whether there is enough time to do that in our season and still make a respectable crop of honey remains to be seen. There is much to learn about beekeeping in this region. Keeping bees here is challenging, but if it were easy, it wouldn't be very interesting. Thank you. That's all I have.